Hello there, a very good evening to you. You're live here on GHOne TV. This is News Tonight with me, Natalie Forts. Let's take a look at our top stories. Coming up this evening, NDC directs all government appointees seeking executive positions at all levels to resign at least 6 months ahead of the party's internal elections. A move General Secretary Fifi Kwete justifies will end greed and ensure a level playing field. Also coming up, with just 2 days to the NPP presidential primaries, the Ghana Police Service announces security deployment for the contest, warning non-uniformed officers to stay out of polling centers.
Every police station not less than 70 and above, because the strategy that they are using now, we should be able to handle all situations.
Also in the bulletin, investigator tells court embattled Ashanti Regional Chairman of the opposition NPP, Chairman Wuntumi's concession was not only for reclamation but to mine, contradicting earlier claims as proceedings continue on the controversial Akonta mining operations. And in business, Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nipe says Ghana nears relaunch of national airline, detailing advanced preparations to restore direct intra-Africa connectivity. Later in sports, CAF sanctions Morocco and Senegal over AFCON 2025 final drama. Settle down for the details here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. Streaming live all across the world on Facebook and on X at GHOne TV. The investigator in the case involving Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entry Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, has told the High Court in Accra that his investigation revealed that the accused gave out his concession in Samare Boy for mining purposes. Detective Inspector Safo Asiedu Akwesi, the third prosecution witness in the ongoing trial, told the court about the role played by Chairman Wontumi in giving out his concession for mining activities. Chairman Wuntumi's first accused, Kwame Entry, a director of Akonta Mining, currently at large, second accused, and Akonta Mining, the company itself, the third accused, are currently standing trial for 6 counts of charges, including assignment of mineral rights without approval and facilitating an unlicensed mining operation. They have pleaded not guilty, been granted bail, and are standing trial before the High Court, presided over by Justice Audrey Kokuvi-Tay. Under cross-examination from lawyers of the accused persons led by Andy Appiah-Kubi, the witness said his investigations and interrogations revealed that Henry Okum, who got the concession from Chairman Wontumi, did not go to the land solely for reclamation and tree planting, but to mine. EIB's legal affairs correspondent Murtala Inusa reports that the third witness has been discharged, with prosecution's last witness expected in the witness box on February 3. Lawyer for the accused person, Andy Appiah-Kubi, addressed the media after the case was adjourned.
The third prosecution witness in respect of cross-examination, so he is discharged. Now we will come back on the third to take the final prosecution witness, who is alleged coming from Minerals Commission. So when we are done with him, then we will take a decision as to how to progress in the case. So far, we are very hopeful that we may have to file a submission of court case at the end of the four prosecution witnesses cross-examination. So we are fine, and we are very hopeful that success will be ours. And we are very grateful to So we come back on the 3rd of February.
In other news, the Ghana Police Service says it has made significant gains in the fight against armed robbery and violent crimes following the arrest of 12 suspects linked to 2 major robbery operations nationwide. At a press briefing in Accra, the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, COP Lydia Yako Donko, said the arrest highlights the impact of intelligence-led policing. Peter Adato has more in this report.
The Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, COP Lydia Donko, said 7 of the suspects were arrested in connection with a highway robbery involving a member of the Council of State. The victim was attacked by armed men on July 21, 2025, while traveling along the Tamale-Bipe Highway and was robbed of cash, mobile phones, a laptop, wristwatches, and other personal belongings. Following months of intelligence gathering, police arrested the suspect at various locations in the Savannah and Northern regions, retrieving locally manufactured firearms, live ammunition, suspected narcotic substances, mobile phones, wristwatches, and a motorbike believed to have been used in the robbery.
Police investigations are ongoing to apprehend other suspects believed to be on the run and to retrieve a weapon believed to be in their possession. Investigations continues. Any suspicious activity should be reported immediately to the nearest police station for assistance.
In a separate development, the CID also arrested 5 suspects connected to a coordinated robbery attack at Nkasem in the Ahafo region. According to COP Donko, the suspects blocked the Guosu-Tepa road on December 2, 2025, before attacking the Nkasem police station, a rural bank, and buying companies, making away with cash and 2 AK-47 rifles. An employee of one of the companies was shot and injured during the attack.
Ensure that vehicles are properly secured, avoid picking up unknown individuals, and be cautious when stopping for distress signals that may be staged. Let us adopt basic safety measures in our daily routines, stay alert in crowded places, and inform trusted individuals of your whereabouts.
COP Donko urged the public to remain security conscious, particularly on highways and on online platforms, and encourage citizens to report suspicious activities to the police.
We urge all and sundry to remain vigilant against cyber crimes and crimes perpetrated online. Exercise due caution on digital and social media platforms. Avoid sharing personal or financial information with unknown individuals, and be wary of unsolicited messages or calls requesting sensitive details.
She further commended officers involved in the operations, thanked the public and the media for their continued cooperation in the fight against crime.
Ghana's Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has called for stronger regional cooperation to combat terrorism and violent extremism in West Africa, describing the threat as a stark and growing reality facing the sub-region. She made the call at a high-level consultative conference on regional cooperation and security in Accra, which brought together security chiefs from Burkina Faso, Liberia, Mauritania, Nigeria, Mali, and other West African countries.
The strategic environment confronting our region has changed significantly. The challenges we face are increasingly intercontinental and transnational. Violent extremism, terrorism, organized crime, cyber threats, and persistent youth unemployment do not respect borders, institutional mandates, or even traditional policy silos. In this context, leadership requires more than responding to immediate pressures. It calls for foresight and coordination, ensuring that security strategies, foreign policy, and development agendas reinforce one another rather than operate in isolation. Experience within and beyond our borders has shown that fragmented approaches are insufficient to address the complexity of today's threats. Effective regional cooperation, therefore, depends on timely information sharing, joint analysis, and coordinated responses.
Still live here on News Tonight on GH1 TV. Next, we bring you the countdown.
IB Election Hub. Credible, compelling, and comprehensive election coverage on TV, radio, and online. EIB Election Hub. Credible, compelling, and comprehensive election coverage on TV, radio, and online.
On GH1 TV, this is the countdown, and it's just less than 48 hours where the NPP presidential delegates primaries is going to be held. 5 contenders and multitudes of delegates all vying for the position of flag bearer of the NPP. Who leads the NPP after January 31? We certainly will find out right here on GH1 TV. The countdown this evening, we bring you details specifically pertaining to some key strategies and the Electoral College within the presidential primaries of the NPP, the mode of voting. My colleague Isaac Kabila is in studio for details on that.
Well, Natalie, with the strategies and the presidential primaries, we decided to look at the guidelines. We decided to take a careful look at the guidelines, and we realized that the party will be adhering to strict rules on January 31, 2026, which is 48 hours away. So we decided to look at the date and the objective, and this is something that is being communicated. January 31, 2026, Saturday, is the date for the election, for where all the delegates will be voting. And we decided to look at the Electoral College. The Electoral College was recently expanded after the constitutional amendment, which was done by the party some months ago. And so we now have 211,849 people, delegates, who will be voting on Saturday. And so these are the delegates who will be voting. We also had to look at some components of the Electoral College. We looked at the national executives. We also looked at regional executives, constituency executives, electoral area coordinators, and so on. These are some of the candidates, these are some of the delegates who will be voting on January 31, 2026. And we looked at the mode of voting. Previously, the party had also ignored the claims that there should be a proxy voting. So this will be an in-person voting by the party, all the delegates, in-person voting, and also the voting will take place as a designated constituency center. Each constituency has a center, but the party has stated that if the candidates or if the delegates are more than 1,000 voting in a particular center, then there have to be additional center for the delegates to vote. So it is probable that the candidates and the delegates will be more than what we are expecting, and also the voting centers will exceed the traditional 277. And so originally we had the 276 constituencies plus the headquarters, Natalie. So for now, this is the objective, the mode of voting, and the Electoral College of the primaries that is coming on Saturday, Natalie.
Right, Apila. And how about some of the rules that are coming through? What specifically has the party said as per the rules that the candidates and delegates must go by?
So with the rules, the party has set strict rules for them that with the campaign rules specifically, the party says no campaign on the day before voting. So on 30th, which is tomorrow, Friday, 30th, no one is allowed to campaign, no one is allowed to engage delegates for voting. The party has also stated clearly no insults, no hate speech. The party has also says everyone should respect the leadership and the institutions in the party, and that no camping of delegates, no candidate is expected to camp any delegate. Now, let's look at the electoral college, how a candidate is expected to get votes to be a winner. Now, we decided to know that the candidate must obtain more than 50% of the valid votes to be a winner. This is part of the delegates. This is part of the guidelines that were released by the party. And if the party is not able to meet that, then there will be a runoff. A runoff will come if any candidate is not able to get the 50% plus 1. So we also looked at supervision and security, Natalie. And with the supervision, we realized that the Electoral Commission will be supervising the election. And this is something the party has agreed. This is something the party has stated in their guidelines, that it is solely the Electoral Commission that will be handling this election. And also security activity. When it comes to securities, this evening the party has just released a statement, and as part of their guidelines, no other person, no macho man, no national security operatives are expected on Saturday. It is the Ghana Police Service who are solely handling this election. Now, party disciplinary bodies will also enforce compliance when the need arises. But as it stands, it is the EC that will handle the election, and it is the Ghana Police Service that is solely in charge of ensuring security on Saturday. And then the party also outlined how they will be able to settle disputes. And when it comes to settling of disputes, they said a petition must be formally submitted if you are not satisfied with what is there. And so the petition must also follow the laid down timelines given by the party. So, Natalie, if we look carefully at how the guidelines are, we realize that they've given a strict time for the voting, which is 7 a.m. And by 2 p.m., voting should be done. And so they says, but if the need arises, the time may exceed the 2 p.m. if there are challenges, maybe technical and network challenges in some of the constituencies. We also have, yes, so that is the time for the voting. So in summary, the MPP says the voting is on Saturday, January 31, 2026, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the time for the voting. No one is allowed to entertain hate speech. No delegate or is supposed to come and vote in place of another. No proxy voting on January 31, 2026. So for now, these are the key guidelines that the party has outlined for the delegates to follow. Natalie.
Isaac Abila, interesting. Thank you for running us through those key guidelines as ahead of the presidential primaries of the MPP. Now, joining via Zoom is political analyst and Executive Director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies, Jonathan Asante Otre, joining for a conversation on this. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for your time. Now, you heard my colleague Isaac Abila detailing the rules and the guidelines ahead of the primaries. What's your general sentiments on it, and how significant do you think that it will be in actually shaping the outcome and conduct of the delegates and the contenders on the day of the primaries? It appears that you're on mute, please.
Let me say good evening to your viewers and to your good self. Obviously, when you're going for any internal elections, there are rules and regulations, because it will interest you to know that most often than not, internal elections are quite keener and more, keenly contested than that of the external election in terms of you contesting your main opponent as far as the politics or different parties are concerned. Because obviously you're going to have the Electoral Commission as the arbiter, but this time around you have all your internal organizations in place. And then it is just like they have one common enemy. In the case of the internal elections, you do not know who is your enemy or who is your main opponent. It is just that we all belong to the same fraternity. And that's the more reason why they have to put forth this number of regulations that will ensure that all contesting parties, all stakeholders abide by these regulations.
Right. Now, we one thing that was detailed by my colleague is specifically the campaign rules, and one that stands out is the absence, or there should be an absence, of insults, hate speech, tribal, religious attacks, and so on and so forth. Now, we know that even the contenders during the campaign period there's been quite intense back and forth between them, which I'm sure you have followed. Do you foresee this as something that can indeed be adhered to, looking at the conduct of the contenders even prior to the elections itself?
Well, some of us hoped that, by the signing of the Peace Pact, insulting, vituperative attack, abuses, unguarded statement and pronouncement ought to have stopped. Unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, from a social linguistical perspective, we saw Dr. Napo, in some kind of tirade, if you want to put it that way, or subtle jabbing, of the opponent of Dr. Bawumia. And I do not know whether the three other candidates who are, airing some kind of pressure discipline, they want to respond to that. Of course, I've listened to Dr. Bawumia Champon on this particular issue where he felt that it should be ignored. And that for me was a display of maturity, and that the main focus should be what is supposed to happen on Saturday. I don't know what the others may want to respond to the kinds of unguarded pronouncement of Dr. Napo. But that being said, as I said earlier on, some of us felt that with the signing of the Peace Pact, we were not expecting this of that nature to happen again. Unfortunately, these things reared their ugly heads in the campaign. So I pray that maybe from this evening, as they have issued the guidelines, they will want to hearken to that. Because if you do not, most likely people can easily use that as a negative publicity against your campaign.
Right. Now, Mr. Asante-Oshie, I'm going to ask that you kindly stay on, but please hold briefly as we're taking some other key developments ahead of the primaries, and then I'd return to you for your reactions to that. Now, as the NPP prepares for its presidential primaries on Saturday, January 31, the Ghana Police Service is stepping up security to guarantee a peaceful and credible election process. Officers from multiple headquarters formations have been deployed across the country with clear directives to maintain professionalism, neutrality, and strict discipline throughout the voting period.
Police officers drawn from the national headquarters formations have been dispatched across the regions to provide operational support, while standby teams remain on alert in the capital to respond swiftly to any emergencies. The Director of Operations, DCOP Theodore Hlomenu, reminded officers of strict adherence to the rules of engagement, electoral principles, and professional conduct.
Let's ensure, he has already sent a warning signal that the macho men who comes around now, the police have more macho men than we are. At the maximum of every police station, not less than 70 and above, because the strategy that you are using now, we should be able to handle all situations. But we are all human. Let's try to engage. Engagement first. Talk to the people first. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Talk to each and everybody first. And make sure you use that negotiation method to diffuse the issue.
Special attention was placed on welfare and logistics supports and officers' transportation, including newly acquired patrol vehicles being used specifically for election operations. To enhance accountability, body-worn cameras will be deployed across voting centers with a command center in Accra monitoring activities in real time.
The body cam teams will be distributed across all the centers. So make sure that your attitude at the ground should be very, 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 very professional. The response team, please, the weapons that we have given to you that you are living here with, take proper care of it. When you want to go somewhere and you feel it's a latest call that your weapon cannot go with you, hand it over to somebody. Don't leave it as though I'm leaving the weapon here for me. Other than before, you see, you'll be running without wearing a legend by chasing your weapon.
Under the election guidelines, only accredited delegates and agents will be allowed with
Meanwhile, leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association has called on the NPP and specifically all 5 aspirants in the upcoming January 31, 2026 flag bearer primaries to advise their supporters against attacking and intimidating journalists on the day.
GJ reiterates its call on the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to take full responsibility for the safety of journalists during its upcoming presidential primary to elect a flag bearer. We urge the party to clearly and publicly caution its supporters against attacking, intimidating, or obstructing journalists who will be deployed to cover the process. Political competition must never be allowed to degenerate into violence against the media. The GJ will be actively monitoring the entire election process through our regional structures across the country and will not hesitate to name and shame any individual or group that assault journalists in the course of this assignment.
Member of Parliament for Gomoa Central, Kwame Asari Obing, popularly known as A+, has extended his best wishes to all the candidates vying for the MPP's flag bearer position.
I'm interested in the whole conference. I'm very excited about it. Who become the flag bearer? They are all my people. Everybody is my friend. And I wish all of them well. Brian Champon is my big brother. And he's somebody that I really admire. The kind of development that he has brought to GHOne is unprecedented. And I support him in to become NDC flag bearer. Honorable Ken Japan, everybody knows my relationship with Honorable Ken. Dr. Bawumia, there's so many people who don't know that. Me, personally, Dr. Bawumia, I've said I like him just that he was vice president under Akufo-Addo. And you know that me, I don't like any type of Akufo-Addo governance. It's not the MPP as a party. The MPP as a party is a great party with great people. But Akufo-Addo as the president under the candidate and the MP, how do you call president, was something that I just didn't like. So all of them, I wish all of them well. And I'm excited that they are going to change plenty dollars into the system. You people should make CDs available, change for them. It will reduce who
is your most preferred candidate?
Anybody who wins. If you win...
Not even Ken?
Oh, I'm telling you that anybody who wins is fine.
Let's stay on this and return to Jonathan Asante-Otre, political analyst and executive director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies. Thank you, Jonathan, for staying on. Now, I believe specifically regarding police deployments and conduct on the day, you heard the GJA calling to ensure that journalists are not intimidated on the day of the primaries, and of course A+ as well, sharing his sentiments. What's your reaction to these three key notes put forward?
Well, security is of prior importance when you are conducting internal elections as well as external elections. And the IGP has given his word, and when they signed the peace pact, that they wouldn't want to entertain vigilante or vigilantism, whichever you look at it. That is something that is very good. Because I spoke with the police couple and I told him that, look, most likely the two main factions, Dr. Bawumia's faction and that of Kennedy Japan's faction, will organize, some kind of vigilantes, and they will be hovering around, these, election or voting centers. But he gave me the assurance that was some few days before the IGP took part in the signing of the peace pact, that they had already met and that they had already informed the MPP and the stakeholders that they were not going to entertain them. I think that is well in order. They've already done some kind of demarcation, outer, inner perimeter, and so on and so forth. And I think that in itself is very good. So far, we may consider this approach as the best, and we just have to wish the police well. With respect to what Honorable, Asari, or popularly known as A+, said, well, he's very indifferent as to who should win or who should lose. And though he has personal, relationship with most of them, he's not really bothered about who should win. I think that is the decision of the delegate. I have said time without number that currently the delegate are in some kind of dilemma. And a dilemma is the fact that, well, the structures of the party, the architecture of the delegate system favors Dr. Bawumia. So that in itself, from the word go, he is predisposed to win. But it ought to be said that the way and manner Mr. Kennedy has prosecuted his campaign is indeed a challenge for the establishment. And so, that being said, we have 3 others that have equally prosecuted, a campaign message that has been quite solid. The delegate would now have to take that particular decision as to who they will want to vote for. But it ought to be said that, I said earlier on, they are in some kind of dilemma. What is that dilemma? The dilemma is the fact that, well, if you look at the other contestants or the other aspirants, apart from Dr. Bawumia, voting for Dr. Bawumia means that you want to hope that the NDC government may not perform or the economy will be bad than what they inherited. Then that will mean that Dr. Bawumia will have the opportunity. And then, of course, the transition of the NDC from Mr. Mahama to whoever, will take over from Mr. Mahama. These are the 2 main obstacles of the NDC. Once these obstacles, are cleared, voting Dr. Bawumia will mean just a natural consequence. He will likely lose the 2028 elections. Deciding on Mr. Kennedy Japan, well, that is a very unconventional, politician. I have said time without number that his style could easily create problems for the NDC. But the main problem is that, can he attract voting voters? That is also a challenge that is still a dilemma, for delegates, because the kinds of things that he said in the past is simply what they are going to use against him when it comes to the campaign season. Because those vituperative pronouncements will not easily attract the floating voters, the non-aligned, the undecided, and so on and so forth. And so that is where I felt that, well, Dr. Duchum could have been a better candidate, but I don't think that they have the mindset to vote for him. Dr. Brian, very articulate, no 2 ways about that, but he has his own issues. Of course, it has been a bad publicity for him wanting to buy or procure, the Snit hotels. And of course, making unguarded statement about the fact that they're not going to hand over, and it became a 2-week, public discussion. So these things could easily harm him. And I think that probably, and most probably, he is probably positioning himself for the future. As for Comrade J. Japan, he should have been a fantastic candidate for the MPP, but they are not ready for him because he lost the momentum from the very period that Mr. Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, ensured that he and Afoko were indefinitely suspended. That took the steam out of his sail.
Interesting analysis there. We'd like to thank you very much for your time this evening. Jonathan Asante-Otri, political analyst, joining us there. And that wraps up the countdown this evening. We certainly will bring you more ahead of the MPP presidential primaries in just less than 48 hours right here on GHOne TV.
Election Hub. Credible, compelling, and comprehensive election coverage on TV, radio, and online.
GHOne TV with me, Natalie Fort. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has directed all government appointees who have interest in contesting as executives of the party, either at the constituency, regional or national level, to resign at least 6 months to any of the party's internal elections. Addressing the media, General Secretary of the party, Fifi Fiavi Kwete, explained that the move is targeted at ending greed and giving equal chances to deserving members. According to him, this directive will be enforced without exception.
Pursuant to Article 4 of the party's constitution, the National Executive Committee has approved the following general provisions under Section H of the guidelines for the elections. 1. Any person seeking to contest for a party position who currently holds an office to which he or she was appointed by the president or government must resign from that office at least 6 clear months before filing nomination forms. I take that again. Any person seeking to contest for a party position who currently holds an office to which he or she was appointed by the president or government must resign from that office at least 6 clear months before filing nomination forms. It cannot be the situation where only 1 or 2 individuals are capable of holding both an appointed position and also a position at the level of the party. It just cannot be. God forbid, if any of us drop dead today, NDC has got so many more people who can hold our position and do an excellent job, if not even better job. So we must have the same principle at all. I think it's simply an issue of reducing the level of greed. Yes, you're the one man with your what was your problem? You know? But if you want to work for the party, you leave your position in that. Then you come and contest and win. Then we know you are fully dedicated. In this situation where you are trying to be one leg here, one leg no, even if not in a constitutional review.
Away from that, the chairman of the Conference of Heads of Basic Schools in Ayawaso East, Tamimu Ibrahim Aliyu, is calling on the municipal chief executive, Abdul Ganiyu Ibrahim, to support improved liquid waste disposal in the municipality. He says the high cost of safe disposal is pushing many residents into unhygienic practices. The appeal was made during an event at the Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly, where waste bins were presented to support sanitation efforts.
As part of efforts to improve sanitation at the local level, the Ayawaso East Municipal Chief Executive, Abdul Ganiyu Ibrahim, has donated 70 dustbins and 3 skip containers to schools and public institutions within the municipality. Speaking to GHOne TV after the presentation, the MCA said the equipment is expected to strengthen waste management and help maintain cleaner public spaces.
As a municipal chief executive, I have taken it upon myself that I have to make sure all my public school in Ayawaso is clean. And then you can't get a place to be clean when they don't have a dustbin. The assembly decided we should make procurement of these boiler bins and then the skip container. So as you can see today, we are able to get these dustbins and then the skip container, which we are sharing it among the public schools, the Nima police station, the Nima government polyclinic, and other institutions within the municipal assembly.
Receiving the items on behalf of public schools, the chairman of the Conference of Heads of Basic Schools in Ayawaso East, Tamimu Ibrahim Aliyu, said the donation will improve waste collection and ensure more effective disposal within the schools.
This dustbin will come to reduce the challenge of refuse, because now we will have enough dustbins to cater for all the refuse that are being generated by the learners in the school. We also would like to appeal that our liquid waste too should be looked at. If it's looked at, it will help us, because sometimes the money we are charged, we can't pay. We find it very difficult to pay. So if we have the municipal assembly coming in to help us with the liquid waste as well.
The donation forms part of broader efforts to improve sanitation and public health in Ayawaso East while sustaining a cleaner environment.
Next on News Tonight, we bring you sports news. Sanctions on Senegal and Morocco following disorder that overshadowed the AFCON 2025 final. Found both football federations as well as was handed a 5-match suspension and fined $100,000 for unsporting conduct. Two Senegalese players, Ndiaye and Ismaila Sarr, were also punished with 2-match bans, each for unsporting behavior, while the Senegal Football Federation was fined a total of $615,000. On the Moroccan side, defender Achraf Hakimi received a 2-match suspension with 1 match suspended for a year, while midfielder Saibari was slapped with a 3-match ban and a $100,000 fine. CAF further fined the Moroccan Football Federation $305,000 over multiple infractions, including misconduct by ball boys, invasion of the VAR area by officials and players, and the use of laser pointers by supporters inside the stadium. That's all the sports news tonight. We bring you business news next.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
To address past setbacks and ensure the suspect of the long-awaited project. The minister gave the assurance at the sidelines of the inaugural flight of Air Tanzania to Ghana.
For decades, Ghana has been among the 10 or so countries on the continent without a national airline following the collapse of the Ghana Airways, the one symbol of national pride that connected Africa to the rest of the world. The national carrier has resulted in international travel being facilitated by international airlines operating out of Accra. However, the dream to revive is brewing as a new regional airlink signals renewed confidence in Africa-to-Africa travel and revives hope of Ghana's return to the global aviation space.
And I'm telling you, within the next period of 12 months, we will be celebrating Ghana Airline flying to the rest of the world. And the task force, I must say that, is doing a good job, and we are up to the task. Very soon, we will re-establish our own national airline.
From Dar es Salaam to Accra, Air Tanzania's new direct flight marks a breakthrough in intra-African travel, coming after more than 60 years of unsuccessful attempts to connect the two capitals.
Ghana stands out as one of the West Africa's most stable and fast-growing economies, serving as a major commercial, financial, and logistic hub for the region. Investment, tourism, and diaspora engagement align perfectly with Tanzania economically. By opening these roads, we are positioning Air Tanzania as a vital connector between East and West Africa.
Operating 3 times weekly between Dar es Salaam, Accra, and Lagos, the route is expected to boost tourism, deepen trade relations, and create new employment opportunities for both Ghana and Tanzania.
So it is my hope that even as the airline flies in here, we continue to build on the capacity of our staff. The new route connecting Dar es Salaam, Lagos, and Accra is a physical manifestation of the vision of the African continental free trade. By reducing travel time between our regions, we are connected in this stronger.
The direct connection is also expected to ease long-standing burden of traveling across Africa through Europe or the Middle East. For Ghana, the development carries deeper significance. Once home to the iconic Ghana Airways, the country has made several attempts over the years to revive a national carrier, efforts that ultimately fell short. But Transport Minister Joseph Bukari-Nipo says the tide is finally turning.
This terminal we are standing under, it was done under his watch, Excellency President Mahama. And I'm not sure that anything is bigger than this terminal when it comes to aircraft. With that firm belief, and that person at the helm of affairs and directing and giving guidance, I am telling you that this time around, we are going to re-establish a national airline, and you'll soon see it.
As aircraft now taxi directly between East and West Africa, the message is unmistakable. If Dar es Salaam can connect to Accra, and Ghana's return to the global aviation map is no longer a distant dream, but a rapidly approaching reality.
And that's it for the business segments this evening on News Tonight.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana.
Welcome back to News Tonight. The Deputy Chief of Staff for Administration at the Office of the President, Nana Oye Bampo-Addo, has reaffirmed government's commitment to continuously support persons with disabilities to help them reach their full potential. She emphasized that education remains a cornerstone of both personal and national development and said government is determined to create an enabling environment that guarantees equal opportunities for all.
The Free Tertiary Education for Persons with Disabilities policy ensures full field coverage for students living with disabilities in Ghana's public tertiary institutions. Part of the No Fee Stress initiative, it will benefit over 2 million Ghanaians with disabilities, removing financial barriers and promoting inclusion. Deputy Chief of Staff Nana Oye Bampo-Addo, marking her 60th anniversary, highlighted the importance of continued investment in accessible and quality education for all.
Yes, government is going to do a lot for persons with disability. As you are no doubt aware, my sister is here, student loan. She has set the pace by ensuring that the policy proposal under the reset agenda of free stress education for persons with disability in tertiary education in Ghana became a reality in less than a year of the tenure of President John Dramani Mahama. As you have heard, the GHOne Act has been amended in Parliament, and now we have all the special schools being given special resources to aid and support them.
The headmaster of the GHOne Special School, Frederick Tete, expressed gratitude for the donations and called on others to support special schools to improve the lives of less privileged children.
Nano has been a friend ever since over 2 decades from now. But when we were in government, when she was not even a politician, she used to visit us, organize parties for us. So today we are so excited at the school, and we know this relationship is not going to end today, but it will continue. Special schools in Ghana, the public ones, of course, are managed by government, and government alone can't meet the needs of such individuals. So I will appeal to every well-meaning Ghanaian to support every special child in the country. Once they get that support and that love, they will be independent, and they can also do something for themselves and contribute their quota to Ghana.
The Deputy Chief of Staff inspected a new government-donated ICT lab, urging the school to fully utilize it for the people's benefit.
And next on News Tonight is the international segment. At least 11 people, including a schoolchild, have died after a truck and a minibus taxi collided head-on a highway south of Durban early Thursday morning in South Africa. 8 others remain seriously injured. Authorities say the crash may have happened as the truck attempted a U-turn, with inspections later revealing worn-out tires. The taxi was reportedly overloaded and driven by a driver with an expired license. Both drivers survived and are now under police guard, with officials considering multiple murder charges. This tragedy comes just a week after a similar deadly accident in Johannesburg, highlighting growing concerns over public transport safety in South Africa. And that is how we wrap up News Tonight this evening here on GH1 TV. Many thanks to you for making the time. It was produced by Abdul Hanan Adam and supported by Stella Butchwe. From Natalie Fort and the entire team, thank you for watching. Have a restful evening.